Okay, welcome to the next episode of Taboo, where today we're going to be talking about an illness that I don't think is that well covered or known by public and professionals alike. We're going to be talking about fibromyalgia, and we are joined by our very own fibro fighter, Katrina. Katrina, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Katrina, I'm 23 years old and I've had fibromyalgia for 12 years now, but only got diagnosed in the last year. So I just graduated last year, September, so I managed to get through uni. And now I actually recently just got a job in my old primary school.
Amazing.
As a teaching assistant, trying to do as much as I can to raise awareness now. I didn't have the confidence to do that before because of the issues that come with invisible illnesses.
Okay.
But in lockdown, actually, I've had the confidence to think about it and actually open up to even my family and friends that I didn't open up to before, and that to the public. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
And that's how I found out even about the hashtag through your Insta page, because now you're so bravely talking about it and everything. And you also have a blog post, and we'll talk about that later on. And yeah, it's very interesting you say about invisible illnesses, and we'll definitely talk about the stigma that comes with not only illnesses, but when they're invisible. What I'm going to first start off, I'm going to say the scientific definition of fibromyalgia. And I'm going to ask you for your more personal definition. So the definition of fibromyalgia, it is a pain or rheumatic condition where people can have constant pain, can be all over their body, and it can also disturb concentration, mood, memory, and constant fatigue. And researchers are not quite sure what causes it, but they think that it's due to the pain signals that work around your body. They're kind of amplified and they're a bit too turned on. How would you describe fibromyalgia?
Similar, but I would describe it as excruciating pain everywhere in my body and actually my skin as well. So even if someone touches you, it's gonna hurt, and it is 24/7. Sometimes I have low pain days, most are high, but when I was in secondary school, sometimes I'd have to use a wheelchair, I wouldn't be able to go to my lessons, I couldn't write at all. So it affects your muscles, skin and bones, and obviously that fibromyalgia amplifies any pain. So any pain you get normally is going to be amplified. And a way of describing it is the scientific way. It's the brain signals are constantly going in your brain, and you have to try and train your brain not to kind of rewind the brain signal.
The process,
It's so hard, for anyone, any age, to do that.
And what age did this all start for you?
So 11 years old, this started for me, but it only started in my knees.
Okay.
So I went to the doctors. They gave me physio and that for that. Yeah, when I was in year 7, it started to get really bad, and I was thinking, I'm just waking up in pain every day. It's not normal. So it got really severe then.
Yeah.
I did everywhere, and I didn't expect it to at all.
Yeah.
And then the doctors said it was chronic pain syndrome.
Okay, chronic pain syndrome. And so now, how is chronic pain syndrome different to fibromyalgia?
So chronic pain syndrome is just literally, they just say, oh, you have pain for longer than 6 months. Yeah. That's all. So if you went to it's not as class as an illness kind of thing. If I went to school or a workplace and said, yeah, I have chronic pain syndrome, it's not a proper diagnosis, because anyone can have chronic pain.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Loads of people have back pain and they have it for over 6 months. It might not be fibromyalgia. They might just have a bad back, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But then with fibromyalgia, you get the fibro fog. So when you kind of really, really tired and you get confused and you can't concentrate properly. So that's another thing that you get with fibro that people don't understand, because you can't see it.
Yeah. And now elaborate more on the fibro fog.
So sometimes you'll wake up and you'll just be dazed kind of thing, you'll be confused. Okay. And I'll be and I used to lose stuff all the time, and my family used to get at me for obviously we all misplace things, but I'm really bad with memory and stuff, and I just obviously they put it down to me just being me, and they're oh my gosh, you can't even look after your keys, you can't look after this. But with the fibro fog, like it's so hard to concentrate in school, in uni, like it makes everything just kind of blurry.
When did the switch go on from, okay, Katrina's just a forgetful, maybe a responsible person, to, okay, maybe this is something more?
So well, my family still don't kind of understand it.
Okay.
Because I don't think many people, I haven't really spoken about fibro fog to many people.
How did the diagnosis change from growing pains to chronic pain disorder to fibromyalgia? Because you said that it took how long before you got your diagnosis?
So I saw so many specialists and had so much treatment in those 11 years. So I saw a pain specialist and I saw her for about a year, but she wrote a report saying that on every visit I was fine. She's exaggerating in my letter, like to school and stuff. She was like, she's exaggerating her pain. Like she says this and apparently this, like she'll use words like that to make us if I was lying. So obviously reading that letter, having to give it to my school and the exam board, I was so upset. Like someone's telling me I'm lying about my pain, and why would I lie about pain? It stopped me from doing so many things. So I obviously had to move. Then I was CBT therapy, which kind of did help.
Okay.
But they discharged me like really soon after. I don't know why. I think because the waiting lists are just, so they just, oh, you have a few sessions, let's move on to the next one. Then I did a group pain clinic at Great Ormond Street. Great Ormond Street was the best one that I went to, the pain clinic. I did a group therapy. I had acupuncture there. My consultant was really good. And it was only until I came back to Mayday, and after they read all my records, they were like, oh, let's check, there's 18 tender points in fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
So obviously they checked the tender points and they were like, oh, like it's been this, like you have fibromyalgia, like all the symptoms that you've described over the 11 years. And then we've done this tender point check. It kind of confirms it.
Now, so we're going to talk about treatments a bit later on, but I think maybe we can talk about it now because it kind of ties in with everything. So CBT, that's on some of our past episodes. So the past episodes have been depression and anxiety. CBT is a really good treatment for these things. So tell us more. So does that mean that fibromyalgia, that it's something to do with your mood as well or not?
You have flares in fibromyalgia. So when I'm really stressed or I'm really sad, or I'm really anxious, my fibro flares a lot.
Okay.
And the pain is so bad. So it can really depend on your mood.
Yeah.
Well, which is why the CBT was really helpful, because it gives you like coping mechanisms. So if you're in pain, you need to actually some people can't get out of bed, but try and get out of bed, try and do a little movement, maybe do something to distract yourself from the pain.
Yeah.
And do breathing exercises, do yoga. So I do try and do all those things, although sometimes I do get frustrated and I do give up on everything for like a week. I'm like, I don't want to do physio, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do anything, because you do get like that. And so I have physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, acupuncture, hand therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy.
So tell us a little bit, maybe like a sentence about each therapy and whether it was helpful or not.
So hydrotherapy, so that really didn't help me. So everyone thought that swimming would help me, and like even the doctors and stuff, but I only had one session.
Okay.
And after, maybe I could have given it another go, but the pain I experienced after the one session, I was like, I do not want to go back.
Okay. So you're fine during the exercise, but then the day after.
Yeah, I was like bedridden. For physio, I had it on and off for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
But the thing with that is, with school, I had school at the time. I wanted to go out with my friends. I had to go every day after school to physio, and it made me tired. And it's a thing where you have to stick to it. You have to do it at home. You have to follow through. And I had so much other stuff going on that sometimes I didn't do it. When I got older, I would stick to it.
And what type of things did you have to do at physio?
Stretching and working on like mats and balls, like just to stretch and strengthen, especially strengthening muscles. That's what they were trying to work on.
When you were a baby, did you reach all your like milestones well? Like, were you able to walk and play in nursery and everything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were fine growing up, like before year 4, you never
Yeah,
had any physical
I had
issues.
growing when I was like 4 years old. So in the middle of the night, I'll wake up screaming. But obviously, they would just put it down to growing pains all the time.
But it could have been fibromyalgia even starting from then.
Yeah, we don't know because they say that fibromyalgia can be caused by or traumatic experience or like something traumatic that's happened to you. So I've had like 3 accidents when I was a kid. So one was obviously not accident, but I was breech, and they had to like crack me to get me out. When I was 4 years old, I fell off the bed and cracked my head.
Okay.
And then when I was in year 4, early year 4, I cracked my chin open.
Yeah, it is all theory and research at this moment.
Yeah.
And maybe even you falling over and being clumsy might have been because of your weak joints
Yeah,
and your pain. So that,
all
wow.
of it. Yeah, like we don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Wow. Okay. And now it's just like, it's so difficult to hear. So I can only imagine how difficult it is to experience all of this. Um, And yeah, so you said that it stopped you from doing things that your friends were doing. So what type of things do you think it stopped you from doing?
Just like obviously I had to go physio after school, or like everyone playing in the playground. So I had to sometimes sit inside by myself, or like have one friend with me. Like in year 10 and year 11, I missed so much school. I was at home a lot. Like when I was at school, I'd be in the sick room. I'd miss so many lessons. Like just being with your friends or
Yeah.
making friends even was difficult because you kind of think, oh, like you're kind of like a burden to this friend. They're gonna have to help you get up the stairs. They're gonna have to, like, I don't want to be anyone's responsibility.
Okay. And do you still feel like a burden today or how?
I think I'm like a year ago I did,
Okay.
but now I think I really try and take control of things myself because I've had it for so long, and I think I'm in a better place mentally. Now I'm just like at peace with it, and I know what I can do, I know what I can't do. Even though you still do feel bad for like your family, your friends, your partner, like or if we go on a group holiday, I probably won't be able to do as much as the group would be able to do. I'd have to take a day out, and like even going out and having a late night, like I know that I'm going to suffer the next day. So I'm
Mm.
like, I have to really think about whether it's worth going.
So talk about your experience with healthcare professionals, the negative ones first, the positive ones, and then the advice that you'd give to future healthcare professionals, because that is my main audience.
Okay, cool. So when I first went to the doctors, they obviously just said growing pains, and they just gave me painkillers. And that was for years. They just kept giving me like different drugs to try. But I think it's about getting to the root of the problem, not because I was so young. I was taking gabapentin for the brain signals, to block the brain signals. And I was taking amitriptyline as well, which is an antidepressant, class as an antidepressant. But that was for the brain signals as well. And then I was taking ibuprofen, paracetamol, went up to cocodamol, and I was just so young. I was losing my hair. I still am losing my hair, even more now. So, but I think that's from stress.
Okay. I was going to
Um,
say if that's a side effect of any of those medication.
amitriptyline.
Yeah.
That's I stopped taking it
Yeah.
because I was getting like rashes on my face. I was losing my hair, so I
Yes.
had to stop taking the amitriptyline. Um, and even now, I've got like problems with my stomach because of how much medication I've taken.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let me just explain the different drugs. So, yeah, the pain pathways, sometimes it can be from inflammation, and that's why we have our non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and that's the ibuprofen and another one, I'll put it down below. And those ones are good for everyday type of like muscle aches and pains. If you've like swollen your ankle, it will make it
Yeah.
shrink down, stuff like that. But one of the side effects, if you take that too much, you can get the tummy problems because it affects the lining of your tummy. Then you have paracetamol, which is your everyday. That one is not too bad. That's quite safe. And then now you have your, because in our pain pathways, a lot of it is affected by our mood. So, for example, that's why you can get sport players who really hurt themselves during a match, but then they
Yeah,
don't realize until after the game because they're like so
so much.
preoccupied, adrenaline, exactly. So, and sometimes when you're feeling down, pain can get worse, or when you have worse pain, that can make you feel down as well. So that's
Yeah,
why we try to use antidepressants for the management of pain. But as you said, they are very strong, and you said that you were using them from a very young age. Amitriptyline can have those rash, photosensitivity, nausea, hair loss as side effects.
yeah. So now I'm taking naproxen.
Yeah, naproxen is an NSAID as well. Yeah, so ibuprofen and naproxen.
But I didn't get the anti-sickness, anti-acid tablets, and I've been taking it for a year, but they didn't give me that. So now I've got like fluid in my uterus, so obviously it's affected the lining of my stomach, which I now obviously now I need to go and see a gynecologist, and it's just another added problem. So
Yeah,
for professionals, where like I'm 23 is still young, so I
yeah.
think we need to like, even though as I would think, yeah, I wanted painkillers at that time, but if I have the CBT first maybe and the therapies first, I think it's a good way to go before giving out medication.
We can treat them with medicine, but that's treating the biological. But we also need to think about the psycho and social factors, because that's just important in management as well. And that's something you said that you would have, because of course you were young, so you couldn't have known
Yeah, I did.
that. And so why do fibro fighters want to live medication free? Like,
But managing it with medication is always having to take medication and always having like the side effects of like the pain medication or any medication that you're on. It's just not a good, it's not the quality of life you kind of want to live.
have you had any positive experiences with any healthcare professionals?
Yeah, well, I did at Great Ormond Street. My acupuncturist and my consultant there were really good. Like I think because they have a proper pain clinic there and they know what they've done, all their research, they know what they're talking about. They've got really good specialists there. They kind of know how to approach you and they know like how you're feeling. So they don't kind of, most consultants that I've spoken to have told me how I've been feeling kind of thing.
And how do you think that we can reduce that stigma from invisible illnesses?
Think raising awareness. People don't really know what it is. People don't talk about it. So like you could be sitting on the bus next to someone who suffers the same thing as you, but because it's not talked about, people are scared to come out with it because they look fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many things that I do want to do. One day I want to be an advocate for the charity. Like I really want to push it because I feel like it's just so important, because with fibromyalgia, most people get depression and anxiety as well. And a lot of people, like some people commit suicide because the pain is unbearable and like no one believes them, and it's really hard for them to live like a normal life. Like some people are bedridden because of it, but you can't see any swelling or anything, so no one believes you. So it takes a big toll on your mental health as well, and which I have been through that. I've luckily come out the other side, but it took me years. When I said I can do it, like I know I'm capable of doing it, I'm not going to give up because I have an illness.
That's really amazing. And I know that another person with fibromyalgia will be watching this and seeing you like fight through the doubt, and like the haters per se, to achieve what you needed to and what you wanted to. That's definitely going to be a really big inspiration. And you said earlier that you've now learned to not care about what others think. How did you get to that place?
So I had like counselling for my anxiety, so I'm on anxiety medication now. But I just thought to myself, like, it's what matters most is the people that are closest to me, that know the truth, that believe in me. I'm going to surround myself with the people I want to surround myself with, and they're going to know and I'm going to know, and that's all that matters, kind of thing. And I'm starting my new job next Thursday. I'm anxious to be like starting a new job, meeting new people. I'm going to have to explain like if I can't do certain things, like I'm going to have to explain it and like go through this whole process.
Coming out of uni and graduating and finding a job is hard enough, let alone having to grapple with a disability as well on top of that. So well done to you. And so what treatments are you on at the moment, and how are you feeling at the moment?
With managing it now, I'm just managing it with exercises, de-stressing myself, yoga, the naproxen when I really need it, and that's mainly when I'm on my period.
Okay. Oh gosh, yeah. So how do you now deal with your periods as well?
It's a nightmare. Like that is when I'm bedridden. I don't do anything when I'm on my period. It's just too much. Like it's so crazy. Like I don't know what it's like. I cannot remember what it's like not to have pain. And I do wonder to myself sometimes, like, oh, what does it feel like to just like walk like without pain? It's
So
crazy.
right now you're in pain.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just a constant. So on
Yeah.
a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the worst and 0 being nothing, what's your baseline, and then what does it like get up to?
So I think the lowest it could be is like 5, and obviously the highest is like 100. Like it could get so bad. Like sometimes I cannot believe that this is happening to my body. Like it just feels like it's just being cut into pieces.
And in those like pain attacks, if I can call them that, what makes them go away?
So time, a lot of time. So you just have to really wait it out, kind of thing. But do things that will kind of push it to be over. So I would take a warm bath
Yeah.
with like some salts,
Yeah. Does that
or
help?
yeah, kind of. Like it just eases it a little bit. Like you just feel a bit like relaxed.
Yeah.
I think obviously you feel more relaxed mentally in a bath as well. That it kind of de-stresses you. So you kind of, and I really try and distract myself. Like I'll either watch a movie or do something not active, but I'll like go for a walk or like do little stretches or like talk to someone that I haven't spoken to in a long time, and then we'll just be like, you're so away with the conversation that you kind of not forget about the pain. But it's, for me, a lot of it is distractions.
Okay. What would you say to somebody who might be suffering from, maybe like they're a bit fatigued, sometimes their brain feels a bit foggy, they get random pain, but they've never maybe gone to a specialist?
So I really would encourage like everyone to kind of like push go and see a pain specialist, because it took a while for the doctors to refer me. So I had like blood tests and everything, but they wouldn't take it further than that. They'd just be like, oh, it's growing pains, and that's what kind of probably delayed my recovery, kind of thing. So I think don't give up, because I was ready to give up. I was ready to be like, oh, like they're just gonna say the same thing, I'm just gonna live like this. Like, but you have to kind of push it with the doctors and say, no, I want a blood test, I want to see a specialist.
Do any of
And
the blood tests come back abnormal though?
yeah, so my rheumatoid arthritis came back at twice, but then they disregarded it because it wasn't high enough. You definitely don't let the GP just be like, yeah, like it's just pain.
Okay.
Because if you do get that fibromyalgia, you get much more support. If your diagnosis is fibromyalgia, it's a proper diagnosis. That's it. For me, when I got my diagnosis, it was such a relief, because it means I'm not lying anymore.
And you also mentioned how it's now listed as a disability, so there are benefits that come from that, i.e. I'm guessing parking and perhaps
Yeah,
council and more protection
yeah.
things. What advice would you give to family and friends of somebody who might have fibro?
For family and friends, I'd be like, listen to the fibro sufferer, like listen to your friend or family, like, because anyone could be going through it, and like actually just believe them. That's all anyone wants, is to be believed.
Okay.
And like they already probably feel bad for asking for help. It's just not a nice feeling. So I think just being really supportive and listening, believing is just the main thing.
Yeah. Okay. So to
Maybe
believe them.
research about, if someone tells you they have fibromyalgia and they're close to you, maybe do your own research. Maybe like there are support classes and support groups for people, family members and friends that I found online as well. And I plan on doing like kind of interviews with like my boyfriend and my sister and my mom, just to like kind of put it out there, like, and do like interviews and put it up to see how they feel about it as well.
Amazing. That sounds like a really, really good project. And yeah, as I said, all of the videos and your blog posts are really informative, and to just hear it firsthand. And that's
Yeah,
exactly why we've made, why I've made this series Taboo as well, to increase that awareness, to educate the public, and also to comfort other people who might be dealing with this as well. So thank you so much for being interviewed. I feel like I've just learned so much, and I just like I'm just like so taken aback at the amount of pain that you have to go through every day. Um, and I just wish you all the best on your journey going forward and like handling this. How do you feel about the future?
I feel positive. I think because there's so much more awareness being raised, and that I'm going to be a part of raising awareness, and maybe in the future like we'll find many more ways of managing this condition, even if it's me finding more ways for myself. Like I just feel like I'm very now enthusiastic, and like I'm not letting it get me down as I was letting it get me down. I'm kind of more looking to the positive side of things and what I can use this experience to help other people. So that's like I think that's my distraction as well now. I'm using it to help other people. I feel more kind of empowered to do more.
Yes. Okay. And so our viewers can feel empowered as well. So drop all your socials. Where can they find you?
So my Instagram is at Katrina Erapa _. My blog is katrinasfightwithfibro.com, and my Twitter is Katrina Erapa.
Okay,
So
and I'll be leaving them all in the description box below. Amazing. Thank you so much. Any last words to any fibro fighters?
I think just don't try, not give up. Like there will, even if you're in the darkest place right now, I was there, and there is like a light at the end of the tunnel. As cringy as that sounds, but there is, like, you will find a way to manage it and use the resources you have, and just push for that treatment, push for the support that you want and that you need. Like don't be ashamed of asking for help. So
Okay,
yeah. Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you.